Hey everybody, it's the Combatcast on Memorial Day because we don't take a break. We're here for you guys. All right, and we got UFC 302 this weekend. And before that, let's talk about our sponsor.
All right, we'd like to thank Game Up for sponsoring the podcast again this week. They make a thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes, fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape in that variety pack.
That's right. Comes in 8-pack and full flavor, only 110 calories. So enjoy your game up and enjoy the Combat Cast. And before we get into today's episode, let's talk about a couple future episodes.
All right, June 8th, we'll be talking about UFC Fight Night Cannonier versus Imavov. And then June 15th, UFC Fight Night Perez versus Tarrera. I'll also be talking a little bit about that Silva and Sonnen boxing match. That's going to be going on. And then June 22nd, UFC Fight Night Whitaker versus Chimaev from the Middle East, I think Saudi Arabia or something like that. So that'll be an early card.
Yeah, I like them early cards. That always is good. Saudi Arabia, man. They're doing everything they can to get like boxing and MMA and WWE and
golf.
Yeah, golf.
Yeah.
Becoming a destination place. So, hey, all right, whatever. Just where the fights are going to be.
They have all the money, so.
Not this weekend. UFC 302, Makhachev versus Poirier. And before we get into this main card, Chevy, any fights you want to shout out?
Just want to shout out Mickey Gall, who I thought was cut from the UFC. He's on the early prelims. Nico Price versus Alex Morano is kicking off the prelims, the regular prelims. That's an excellent fight. Also got Grant Dawson on there, Roman Kopylov. It's a good card.
Yeah, that's a good card for sure. I mean, Mickey Gall, man, I thought he might have even been gone. I'm surprised.
I thought he got cut, so maybe he did and he's back, or I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully he's progressed a bit. He was pretty young when he came in, calling out CM Punk and all that. So
yeah, he got kind of fast tracked because of that. But
yeah,
honestly,
the Sage Northcutt thing. He was one of those early, looking
for a fight.
Yeah, star progression that the UFC kind of messed up, and they've kind of figured that out with Paddy Pimblett's and Sean O'Malley's of the UFC now. So hopefully he can make another run at a career. All right, let's get in this main card, though. Kicking the card off with a very good welterweight fight. Randy Brown versus Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos.
All right, Dos Santos is 24-7-1, 14 KOs, 3 subs, 7 decisions. And Randy Brown is 18-5, 7 KOs, 6 subs, 6 decisions. And get this, most importantly, I think he's won 6 out of his last 7. So Randy has got some momentum going. I think he keeps it up here. I think they're two tough guys. I don't see a finish. I'm going to call it Randy Brown by decision.
Yeah, Dos Santos beat BSD, Benoit Saint Denis, but that was at welterweight. So I think that was a short notice thing for Benoit. Other than that, he hasn't beaten anyone at the top level yet. So I think Randy's going to be too much for him. Dos Santos is willing to stand and strike. So I'm going to pick Randy by TKO in round 2. But, I could see it going to decision. Both guys are tough on the feet. Let's move on to this next fight. We're getting a heavyweight fight. Jailton Almieda versus Alexander Romanov.
All right, Romanov is 17-2, 6 KOs, 9 subs, 2 decision. And Almeida, 20-3, 7 KOs, 12 subs, 1 decision. 2, again, really tough fighters. This could go either way. I'm going to go Almeida by submission, round 2.
I think Romanov has enough grappling to hold his own with Almeida. And I think he has a big advantage on the feet. So I think and I hope that Alexander can get a first round KO. Otherwise, I think we're going to get a boring 3-round decision with 2 very exhausted heavyweights. And nobody likes those fights. So
I guess I was just thinking maybe the wrestling will play into the jiu-jitsu of Almeida and he'll be able to submit him down.
Catch him in something when they're in a scramble. Yeah, I mean,
I think
he
we're
is
both-
very skilled. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Almeida is probably the most skilled heavyweight jiu-jitsu practitioner on the roster, so he could certainly catch him in something. But I think power advantage on the feet goes to Romanov. So hopefully that's where the fight ends. All right, this might be. I mean, other than the main event, this is probably the fight I am the most excited for on the card. Kevin Holland versus MIchal Oleksiejczuk.
All right, MIchal Oleksiejczuk is 19-7-1. I actually, by the way, funny story. I was doing some prep for this with my girlfriend, and I showed her that name. I said, "This one," and she just looks Eastern European.
I had to watch a YouTube video so I could remember how to pronounce his name. Yeah,
good man. That's why I always leave it to you. Anyway, 19-7-1, 14 KOs, 1 sub, 4 decisions. He's definitely a prospect here. It's going to be a tough fight for Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, who's 25-11-1, 14 KOs, 7 subs, and 4 decisions. I like Holland. I think Holland has had a lot of tough competition, and he hasn't always fought the best lately, but I don't think he's done. I think that this is his back against the wall, and he needs this. So I am going to take Kevin Holland. I'm going to go with submission. I'll go round 2. Submission.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm interested to see what Kevin looks like after that MVP loss, because I think that was an embarrassing loss for him. He really got outclassed and embarrassed. So Oleksiejczuk, powerful striker, but Kevin's pretty slick with his head movement. I mean, he's very tall, and it didn't work great against MVP because he goes straight backwards, but he's much taller than Oleksiejczuk, I believe. So it'll be harder for him to touch Kevin's chin. So I'm pulling for Kevin. I think he's going to look better than he has in a long time since, those COVID fights where he was fighting on Fight Island or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to pick him by TKO. I think he does some slick head movement, lands some counter punches. I'm going to say he gets a TKO. I'll say round 2.
All right.
Move on to this co-main event. This is also pretty good matchmaking here. Number 1, Sean Strickland versus number 7, Paulo Costa.
Yeah, it's a very good matchup. Paulo Costa, 14-3, 11 KOs, 1 subs, only 2 decisions. Excuse me. Sean Strickland, 28-6, 11 KOs, 4 subs, 13 decisions. Paulo Costa tends to win his fights against everybody but the tippy-top competition. Sean Strickland, obviously a former middleweight champion right now, and has really looked good ever since he got caught by Alex Pereira and the way he fought Pereira. He went on to win the middleweight championship, and even when he lost it, he lost a very close fight that some people thought he won. This is a fight where Paulo Costa is dangerous. He could catch Sean. He has the capability of not, but Sean has a good chin. We've yet to see, other than that Pereira fight, and Pereira, no offense to Costa, but Pereira is a much more elite, different type striker. So I got to go with Strickland here. I think it'll be a decision because I don't really see Costa getting finished, though. So I'm going to go Sean Strickland by decision.
Costa looked really good versus Whitaker. If you remember, he landed that wheel kick and had him stumbling around the ring. So although he did lose that fight, it was pretty close, and he had Whitaker hurt very badly.
Sure.
But Strickland is going to put all the pressure on Costa. He's going to fight him like nobody really fights Costa. Strickland's going to march him down. Costa's not known for having the best cardio. So that pressure is going to wear on him. I don't think Costa's as good going backwards as he is when he puts the pressure on opponents, although he's reluctant to do that a lot. If he doesn't KO Sean in the first or second round, I definitely think it's a decision win for Strickland. And I think that's what it ultimately is going to be. I think Strickland wins all 3 rounds. If he can just avoid getting knocked out with one big wheel kick or whatever. We know how great he is at going with shots and that Philly shell and everything. I think he'll get it done.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm agree. That's what I think is going to happen. But I think we both are basically saying the same thing on this one. I think that if Costa does have the capabilities of turning his lights out, and that will probably be how he has to win this fight if he's going to win this fight.
Right. He has an above average puncher's chance, I would say, but it's just stylistically, Strickland is not one to get caught with those kinds of things, when he did against Pereira. So, all right, let's talk about Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier.
All right, Makhachev. I'm gonna start with him this time. I'm gonna start with the champ. 25-1, 5 KOs, 11 subs, 9 decisions. Very dominant. Other than his one loss, I think it might have been his UFC debut.
It was,
which was a decision in a close fight. I can't remember his opponent right now, but I think top-notch guy too.
No, I think he got knocked out.
Oh, he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Oh man, what am I thinking of then? Well, I did not, because I know Makhachev. Yeah,
the guy went on to do nothing. He's not in the UFC anymore.
Oh man, let's look at this up now. We're gonna take what's side question here.
Yeah, we got time. Yeah,
we're right here. Who was the one lost? Adriano Martins. Yeah, Martins. Yeah,
who I don't believe is in the UFC anymore.
You are correct. He's 29-12. Actually, right after he KO'd Makhachev, he lost a split decision. He got KO'd and then immediately was cut. And he, besides losing those 2 fights, he went on to lose 3 more, a no contest, and he finally just got a win recently. So, kiss of death for that dude, huh?
A thing about taking a loss early in your career like that, though, is what that feeling is, and I bet for someone like Makhachev, it helps focus him in a fight. Like right. Gotta mind my P's and Q's, because it is possible that if I get a little lazy with my focus, I get caught and it's all over. So it could make him even better.
I'll go in one other direction too. Maybe, in the camp with Habib Nurmagomedov and Habib's undefeated and everything. Now you don't have to worry about being undefeated like Habib was too. You don't have that little extra pressure on you. You still want to be the best, but it's like, okay, I'm not competing for that. He has that already. So let me just be the best version if I can be. I could see something like that too.
Yeah, that's that. It all depends on his mentality, but also the flip side of that is Dustin's looking at that. He's been KO'd. I think it was a left hook. Yeah. He's like, if anyone's going to hit someone with a left hook and KO them, it'll be Dustin Poirier. So
let's get to Dustin Poirier here. 38-1, 15 KOs, 8 subs, 7 decision, 1 no contest. Former interim UFC lightweight champion. Fight of the night 9 times. Most fight of the night. I think he's like most fight of the night behind Barboza here. I mean, there's not many people. Like submission of the night, this guy back when we were doing that, but performance of the night 4 times. He's just got record after record in the UFC. He is a true legend, and this is probably it for him for going after the lightweight championship. He's had some close calls, but when it came to being the ultimate champion, he's just never been able to quite pull that off. That being said, I feel like he's got a chance. Now, obviously, I think you have to favor Makhachev. He is the more complete fighter in terms of when he does well. Maybe that's not even fair to say the more complete fighter, but Makhachev is so good at what he does with the wrestling and pulling you in, and his striking is solid, and he's just such an elite fighter, and it's so hard to go against a champ in this situation. But Poirier definitely has the tools at this stage of his life and stage of this game to still pull this off. So smart money would be Makhachev, but I will say Poirier is going to have that little extra something going. I think he knows his back against the wall, but at the same time, I think he's very comfortable with his career, and I think he really feels like he's had a great career. So I think he's kind of got both. Like he's got nothing to lose here, but also like he's going to go all out and really give this thing his best. This is probably a pick from the heart, but I'm going to go Dustin Poirier. I'm going to go Dustin Poirier. And just to make it even sweeter, this is probably ridiculous, I'm going to go third round, Gilly Goose. All right. He's getting a guillotine choke on this motherfucker. So there it is.
Yeah. Islam is a minus 450 favorite right now. And I get it. Islam, very proficient striking. Obviously, we saw him KO Volkanovski with that head kick. Obviously, we know he has the tremendous wrestling. Also, his fight IQ, and what really makes the Dagestani guys set apart from everyone else is they don't get into like these brawls. They stay safe. They stay in control of the fight. And that's how, you know, sometimes you grind out wins like that. Sometimes you frustrate your opponent and they leaves them open for shots or wrestling, takedowns or whatever. And that's what they're so great at. But because Dustin has fought Khabib before, you know, Islam is 2.0 of Khabib, right? So he knows what he's getting into. At this point in his career, like you were saying, I agree with you. He has nothing to lose or nothing to prove. He can go out there and be free. He knows he can believe in his power. And we know that he believes in his submission skills. And Islam has dismissed the guillotine, obviously. It is a, I don't want to say low level. I'll say it's a foundation submission in jiu-jitsu to be able to put on a guillotine. So these Dagestani wrestlers have been dealing with that since they could walk or even before then. So he feels confident. But we saw earlier this year with Max and his storyline where everyone was counting him out and, you know, he knocked out the incredible Justin Gaethje in dramatic fashion. You know, I think this might just be the year for those kinds of things. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm obviously picking with my heart here. Dustin Poirier. I'm with you with the guillotine. I'm going to say it happens a little closer to the end of the fight. I'll say around 4 guillotine. But let's talk a little bit about Dustin has talked about how this could be his last fight, whether he wins or loses. And DC has mentioned that he doesn't like that talk and that other guys have too. Normally that's a 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of scenario.
I don't see that here, but yes.
I agree. I'm thinking the same thing. I understand where those guys are coming from, but with Dustin Poirier, I don't think that that's like, okay.
He didn't lose his last fight.
Yeah. I think that he's just so mentally strong and he just loves it so much. He just wants to go out on, you know, before his body starts to fail him or whatever. So I don't think that's going to slow him down or he's going to accept defeat because he's on his way out or anything like that. I think if anything, it'll boost him and give him that little bit extra, you know, like Usyk was kissing his crucifix in the fight. I think this will be similar to that for him.
Yeah. And I think, you know, this guy puts himself out there too. Like he is a very much a family man and everything. And I feel like he's just got a really good foundation home. And I think he's legacy fighting at this point. He's made money. He's getting to give back to community. And I think what he wants to do is he wants to win this championship. And I think he's looking at it realistically. And hey, if I don't win it this time, that's okay. I got my health. Let's move on to other things. And that's why he's saying that. And I think if he wins the title, he's not saying he's going to retire because, okay, I got my health. There's a legacy. But also, this does open the door for another potential Conor fight. If Conor wins, you know, people might. I mean, I love Dustin, and I really don't want to see Conor beat him or anything like that. But I will say this. There was one scenario, one universe where that made me almost not happy to see Dustin lose, but there was one thing. I think you'll know where I'm going with this. If Conor does beat Chandler, if he somehow finds some way himself to somehow beat Dustin, all right, and a bunch of great fighters are being overlooked probably in this process. But if Max Holloway came up and then beat Conor for the lightweight championship, that would make me extremely happy.
Yeah, I mean, let's transition into Conor then. Let's talk a little bit about him. Okay. So have you seen, there's a video I saw either yesterday or today where he's like partying in some club or something?
was shocked that the Gets had put something on Instagram, but I never know what's real with those guys. And I was busy this week, so I didn't get a chance to look into that. Okay, I guess that's current then. Okay.
Yeah, 6 weeks out from his fight versus Michael Chandler. He's been out for like 2 years or something like that.
All right.
And
Well,
he's party. So
up.
yeah, I think Connor's gonna get KO'd at this point. I'm not saying that he can't pull it together. If anyone can, we know he's prone to dramatic shit like that. So, but yeah, I don't see that happening. That would be some great storyline. But at this point, with all the variables and stuff, I gotta go with Chandler.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I'd love to see Holloway still fight Dustin for the championship somehow and get that final win against Dustin. He was never able to get either.
Right.
But,
yeah, that would be dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah. One way or the other, I'd like to see Holloway with some more gold around his waist and preferably at lightweight, honestly. Although I would be lying if I didn't think the fight with Ilya Topuria would be, an exciting fight, especially if they did it in Hawaii or Spain or something like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'd like to see, I think Max has done it at 145, Right. I think, and now he's proved by beating Gaethje at 155 that he can do it against the best guys and, try to doubt him. So
I agree.
But, yeah.
All right. Should be a good show. Be a good show this weekend. Chevy, tell people what we got coming up after this weekend one more time.
All right. June 8th, UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Imavov. And then June 15th, UFC Fight Night, Perez versus Torreira. And we'll talk a little bit about that boxing match, Silva and Sonnen. And then June 22nd, UFC Fight Night, Whitaker versus Chimaev.
And you know what? That's June 22nd, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was thinking, what I'm thinking of is actually in July 20th, Tyson and Paul. So we'll be talking about that.
We'll definitely be talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, enjoy UFC 302 this weekend, and also enjoy some Game Up.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest